And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Rutherford Sports Network. I just booted up my computer. I'm getting messenger things. So, yeah, we do a real professional job here. Well, let me go ahead and start letting you know that this is the 100th episode of the Rutherford Sports Network here on Spreaker. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to be doing some interesting things in the next little bit. The first episode after this one is going to be the 101st episode, and I'm going to decide to do a series called Sports 101, and I'm probably going to do something along the lines of where I explain basically the beginnings of my fandom in sports. I think that's probably what I'm going to do next time, is explain my beginnings of fandom in sports, give you kind of a personal aspect of things and such, and how it's going to be a rather lengthy one, a rather personal one, so be sure to tune into that. And some other ideas that I've got as well. And I wish this daggum thing would stop. I hate this laptop sometimes. I'm hoping to get a Windows one in the near future so I can complement this one. Let's go over the first week picks. The Thursday night game is Chiefs at Texans. Texans will make a game of it, but I got to go with Chiefs on that one. Then you've got the Seahawks and at the Falcons. I got Seahawks in that one. Jets and Bills. Well, it's the Jets, so you're going to go with Bills there. Bears and Lions, tough game. Neither team's really going to do great this year. I think Lions will win based on the fact they've actually got an offense, unlike the Bears. Browns at Ravens. The Browns have a lot they've got to do to show that they can be taken seriously. They've got some offensive punch. Their defense is a question, in my opinion. The Ravens, I think, are the second best team in the AFC behind the Chiefs. I think if anything happens to Mahomes, the Ravens will be the team to beat in the AFC, so I got to go Ravens there. Packers and Vikings. This is a make-or-break season for Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. If he doesn't have a great season, I think they'll probably move on from him, and I don't see him really getting back to where he once was. I think that the time has come, in my opinion, for them to very seriously discuss moving on from Aaron Rodgers and letting him go somewhere else. I hate when I yawn like that. But, like I said, this is a very professional show. I got to go with Vikings on that one. I just think the Vikings at home, with a bit of a chip on their shoulder, I think they got a lot to prove. Colts and Jaguars. The Jaguars are tanking for Trevor Lawrence. Let's face it, Colts are going to win that one. Phillip Rivers has got something to prove. I don't know if they're going to have that great of a season. Depends on how healthy he becomes. Raiders at the Panthers. Raiders, new home. A lot of expectations. A team that I don't think is really that great. The Panthers, not a whole lot of expectations out of this team. The defense is going to be a question mark. The offense could very well be one of those things that really, in my honest opinion, could be the best thing about this team. And that is, the offense could be the best thing about this team. I think Teddy Bridgewater has a lot to prove, and I think he's really motivated right now. They got a young receiving core. They've got, obviously, Christian McCaffrey with a lot to prove. I think if their offensive line plays well, I think you're going to see the Panthers have a much better season. I'm going to go Panthers here for the simple reason that I think that they'll outscore the Raiders in this game. It could go either way. Dolphins at the Patriots. This is the year of Cam in New England. This could be a one-year experiment, or this could be the next few years of Cam really showing what he could have done with Carolina had Carolina really kept the faith with him. He's got a lot to prove. He's got a huge chip on his shoulder, and I think he wants to really ball out in this game, and I think he will against a Dolphins team that really has shown some improvement, but I don't really think, I wouldn't say they're going to be, in my humble opinion, I don't think they're going to be, I hate when I do that. I hate when I do that, but I think the Dolphins will be better next year when Tua's got a year of experience under his belt, and he's had a chance to win the job. The Fitzpatrick show, the journeyman quarterback, whose journey continues. So I think the Patriots will win that game. Would not surprise me if the Dolphins pulled the upset if Cam is rustier than expected, but I think Cam's going to ball out. Eagles at Washington. Whatever you want to call Washington. The team without a name. Eagles. Washington's going to have a very tough season this year. Ron Rivera, let's face it, Ron Rivera is just going to basically overhaul this team at the end of the season anyway. This is just getting the kinks worked out. This is going to be a really rough year because there could be a new owner in Washington by the end of the season. There's a lot of heat on Dan Snyder now for some of the things that have gone on in that organization. But you got a good head coach. You got a good character guy in Ron Rivera. If they got a clean house in the front office to get this team to be successful again, get a new name, get new everything, by God, do it. Chargers at Bengals. Chargers are rebuilding. They've got questions at quarterback. If Tyrod Taylor can do the job of being a starting quarterback in this league. Bengals, of course, with Joe Burrow. I'm going to give Bengals the slight edge in this game, but it's one of those toss-up games. Buccaneers at Saints. Am I the only one who thinks that this could be a huge disaster in Tampa? They got this stacked team, but A, I don't know about their defense. B, I don't know about Tom Brady's health. You got a bunch of old guys. You got Ron Gronkowski, who was retired and then came out of retirement. I don't know how healthy he is. You got Leonard Fournette, who just signed with a team who may or may not. So I really have my doubts as to how good this team is. Then you got the Saints, who, once again, last year, disappointed in the playoffs. The shots that Drew Brees has left to finally get a second Super Bowl under his belt. This may be his last year. I think the Saints are going to be motivated. Kamara's looking to get a big payday. Has gotten a big payday, so he's got a lot to prove. I'm going to go Saints here. Cardinals at 49ers. I got to go Niners. Cowboys at Rams. Rams are rebuilding again. They're opening up that brand new stadium, which will give them some motivation. But I think the Cowboys are going to win this game. And then and that's the Sunday night game, by the way. And then the two big Monday night games, you got the Giants hosting the Steelers. Steelers are going to win that one. Steelers have got a lot to prove. They are, in my opinion, the third best team in the AFC right now on paper. Big Ben's got a lot to prove. When you start underestimating the Steelers, as I think a lot of the media have, and I think Big Ben has a lot to prove. This may be one of his last season. So I think there's going to be a lot to really showcase here for him. Titans and Broncos, a very interesting matchup. Broncos are going to be a little bit better this year. Titans are looking to improve upon what they did last year to show it's not a fluke. I'm going to go Titans here for their defense, so I'm going to go with that. And tiebreaker is Steelers. I'm going to go Steelers 31, Giants 17. And those are my picks for this week for the NFL. So what am I going to be doing with this podcast? Well, I'm going to be doing some sports history in the near future. I'm looking at probably the next week or two doing the first of what I call the timelines. I'm looking at the 1980 Summer Olympic boycott as the first one of doing that. And I'm thinking about doing that either next week or the week after. And we'll see about that then. I really want to do something really spectacular with that particular subject. And I think once a month we'll do a timelines. And then I think later on this month I will do a feature on one of my favorite sportscasters. I'm not sure which one yet. I'm probably going to go with someone that isn't as well known today as they were when I was growing up. So I will talk about that at a later time. But there are some plans for this. What I'm going to be basically doing is about once a week I'll be giving you my pro football picks. I'm not going to do college football for the simple reason is it's a split season, and I really don't know if we're going to have. To me, there's a lot of uncertainty about the college football season, and I don't know if I really want to put it out there right now. I'd love to be able to say, sure, there's going to be one, but there's so much uncertainty right now. I just don't see that happening. I really, really don't. And I think that when all is said and done, I just don't see. I don't see them finishing the season. I really don't. I have some very serious doubts considering what we've been seeing lately out of college campuses and such with students still having parties despite the virus still going on, still being a factor in this country and such. I don't see that happening. Now, the next podcast I do is going to be a personal one. It's a 101. And it's going to be talking about my early days of sports fandom. And in my humble opinion, excuse me, I hate yawning when I'm talking. Shoot, I hate that. But anyhow, I'm going to talk about starting up as a sports fan in the early 80s and how sports were like back then. It's going to probably be an hour or so. Because I'm going to talk about my desire to eventually become a sportscaster, blah, 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 and why I didn't. And it's going to be kind of personal. So that will probably be tomorrow, I would guess, when I'm going to upload that one. And then we may talk about some fantasy football. So my history. I'm going to do that tomorrow just to kind of talk about my fandom in sports. And that's going to lead to an interesting one I'm going to do on one of my other podcasts, either today or tomorrow, on the Carolina Geek Podcast, which I'm going to talk about the similarities between sports fans and science fiction fans. Yes, there's a lot more in common than different. A lot more in common than different. And we will talk about that later on this week, probably tomorrow, I would guess. What else can we talk about? Well, let me go down the sports lineup for today. If I can swing over to my phone, which I can. It's just got to boot up a little bit. And let's see, we've got baseball, the Braves are playing against the Marlins today. You've got the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks. Heat lead that series 3-1. Will Giannis show up and try and bring the Bucks back from the brink of elimination? There's a lot of indication that Giannis Antetokounmpo, I can't even say his last name. I'm just going to call him Giannis. I hate mispronouncing other people's last names, so I'm not going to do that today. I think that the consensus is there are two locations that are likely that's going to get him. That's Golden State and Miami. I know people who firmly believe he is going to go to Golden State. I think that probably won't happen because I think he would like to be in a place that is sunny, has a great beach, reminds him a lot about Athens because it's close to the beach, very warm. I think it's going to be Miami. He's got Jimmy Butler there. He's got a young nucleus there. If he gels well with Jimmy Butler, he can really be the centerpiece of that franchise for years to come. You obviously got to put any of the LA teams. I think the Clippers may make a run for him. I don't know if they'll get him or not. Brooklyn possibly might be in the running for it. The Lakers, do they really need him? If they think they're going to get rid of Anthony Davis, it's a possibility. But you got to ask yourself, do you want to just get rid of one big center for another one? And you still got to worry about how much longer LeBron's going to play. So there is that question right there. We're not even going to throw the Knicks into this. If Giannis goes to the Knicks, he better be putting his stamp on the franchise, basically telling James Rosen, this is my team. I want my general manager. I want to have my coach and my kind of players on this team. Other than that, and I doubt very seriously he's going to go to the Knicks. I don't think anybody's going to go to the Knicks. That's actually worth a damn. Until they change ownership, or until Rosen realizes that he's got to get a GM in there that will just simply run the team and let him have Rosen just take a hands-off approach. Okay, Lakers and Rockets tonight. The series is tied 1-1. I think this is one of those series that the Lakers are probably going, why did we have to get the Rockets? I think that this is a very dangerous series for the Lakers. I think that there is a very realistic chance that the Rockets win this series. You've got Chris Paul, you've got James Harden with a lot to prove. Neither one's won a ring yet. And the Lakers have kind of shown a little bit of what I would dare say is they're vulnerable. I think the Rockets could win this series. Will they win it? I think tonight is a very key game right now. I think this is a make-or-break game. Whoever wins this game more than likely will win the series. And I really would like to pick the Rockets, but with LeBron, he knows he doesn't have that many years left in his career. I think this is his last contract that he's on. And I think that he wants to go out with at least another NBA title under his belt. Major League Baseball, I told you about the Braves game earlier. You got Twins at the Cardinals. You got the Red Sox at the Phillies. Tampa's at the Nationals. Royals at the Indians, or the soon-to-be formerly known as the Indians. They're going to probably be something else next year, I would assume. Athletics at the Astros, Minnesota at St. Louis, Yankees at the Blue Jays, or actually they're playing in Buffalo. White Sox at Pittsburgh. You've got the Red Sox and the Phillies. That's the second game of a doubleheader, I would assume, and I am right. That's the second game of a doubleheader. And Brewers, Tigers, Orioles at the Mets, Rangers hosting the Angels, and the Reds, Cubs. Now you got another Houston Astros, Oakland Athletics doubleheader, second game of their doubleheader. Rockies, Padres, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Mariners at Giants. The NHL, Vegas, Dallas. Dallas won the first game. This is going to be a very good series, very critical series between the Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas has got to get back into the series. They're going to be looking to avenge that first game loss. Tampa, after what's happened the last couple of years where they've disappointed, they really showed the Islanders, okay, boys, this is our year. It's been 16 years since we won our first one. And, yeah, the Islanders have got to come back in this game big tomorrow night. It is tomorrow night, correct? Yes, tomorrow night it'll be game 2 of their series. Last night, Tampa just bludgeoned the Islanders 8-2. They chased the goalie in the first period, so yeah. WNBA games, there are 3 of them. You've got the Sparks at Liberty, Lynx at Mystics, Fever at Aces. And you got the U.S. Open continuing on. You got some Mexican soccer action. Nations League is going on. England is playing, who are they playing? They're playing Denmark. And that's their new thing because, hey, we gotta make it to where we're not actually having friendlies anymore. We gotta actually have these games mean something so we can keep our phony baloney jobs. Belgium's at Iceland, France, Croatia, Sweden, Portugal. Those are all today. Then you've got Nations League C group. That is Armenia and Estonia 1-0. Armenia at the half. Georgia, not the one in the United States, against North Macedonia. They don't want to call it Macedonia because that'll honk off the Greeks, so it's North Macedonia. It's 1-1. Russian. I can't call it Russian Georgia. It's formerly Soviet Georgia against North Macedonia. Cyprus at Azerbaijan at 2:45, and Luxembourg at Montenegro. Those are actually 2 European countries, shockingly enough. Yes, they are. They're 2 small ones, but they... And then you've got 2 really small ones in Liechtenstein and San Marino in Nations League D. You'll have a decent high school football crowd for that game. All right, and I'm so evil. Yeah. England-Denmark, by the way, comes off at 2:45 this afternoon. Holy mackerel. Well, that's about it. I don't have anything else. Nothing really major. I will tell you that tomorrow on the 101st broadcast, we will have my little fandom personal blog on that and about sports. And then next week or the week after, I'm going to be doing the first Timelines podcast where we're talking about a particular subject. It looks like it's going to be the boycott in 1980 of the Summer Olympics by the United States and how some of our allies didn't boycott and the political issues there. I'm looking at that probably the week after next because I want to have some time to do some research on it. And then probably one of my best sportscasters. I'm leaning toward Pat Summerall right now, and we'll look into that. Probably next week more than likely, I would guess. We'll see. With work and other things coming up all the time, just never know. On my other podcast, Carolina Geek, I'm going to be doing, like I said, that one podcast talking about the similarities between sci-fi geeks and sports fans. That's either going to come later today or sometime tomorrow. I'm looking at doing something along the lines with, I don't know, watch-alongs are kind of one of those things that's kind of been played out a little bit, so I'm debating whether or not I really want to do it right now or give it some time, and how I want to approach it. Do I want to do, because on Spreaker you can do 5 hours. I don't know if I want to do that much. I may just do it like an episode at a time. I'll see, but I'm kind of debating what I want to do. And of course, there's others. Middle of the Road podcast. I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about this week yet. I'm going to probably do that tomorrow, I would guess. Depends on how I feel. I may do something about veterans and Trump and how this whole election is playing out with him and Biden and battling for veterans votes, and how both candidates have fared with veterans and whatnot. That's what I'm leaning towards. It'll probably be, that may be Friday before I do that one. Let's see, what else? My own personal blog, I will probably do something about Dragon Con this past weekend. I should do that on Carolina Geek. I may do that on Carolina Geek. We'll see. But anyhow, a lot to look forward to. I'm still evolving this thing, and I still need to start working on my novel and other writing and such. So that's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Hope your first week picks do well. I'm not certain about mine. The truth be told, this is going to be a very unique season. I think there's going to be a lot of surprises in the NFL this year. Yes, there is a possibility that the season may not finish up because you never know with this pandemic. So I think there are going to be a lot of surprises. I think, though, the one thing I will say that I do firmly believe is I think Tampa is going to underwhelm majorly this year. To me, it's setting up for a disaster. I think either Brady's going to get hurt and miss a significant amount of time. I think Gronkowski may get hurt and miss a significant amount of time. I think a lot of those players are going to be kind of not expecting to have that much pressure on them. I think some egos are going to get involved. And I think the reality is Tom Brady ain't the Tom Brady of old, and he's going to show it this year. He's going to... The mind and the heart and the soul may be willing, but the body is probably going to give out on him. And I think that's what's going to happen. So I do believe... And I'm going to give you a real quick prediction of who's going to make the Super Bowl. I got Kansas City going again against... The NFC is going to be very difficult to pick. There are a lot of good teams. I would dare say we may see a rematch. The Niners are still good. They're hungry. And they're going to be very frustrated at the fact they had that game in the hand. They let it get away from them. I'm going to predict a rematch for the first time in Super Bowl history. First time. Oh, yeah, it is the first time in Super Bowl history. No. I take that back. There has been a rematch before. Dallas and Buffalo, back in the early 90s, did play back-to-back years. That is the second time in Super Bowl history that you're going to have a repeat Super Bowl. And I think this time around, I think the Niners might pull it off. So, anyhow, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Good night, or should I say good day, good luck, and may the good news be yours.